Nice, new Pointless. Definitely in a video game, a boss level with this one. So any feedback for new Pointless, go ahead and put that in the chat, what you liked and what you think could be improved about the song. So I love the samples that you use. That what video games did you use there to sample? The NES and SNES. Yeah, those always work so well. The character of them works so well. I also like the arrangement of the track. I think it could be a little bit shorter, I would say. Maybe around like the 2:50 mark, a 3-minute mark. I think a 3:44 is a bit long for this type of song. Also, I think that some of the stereo imaging could have been improved in the track. It felt a tiny bit unbalanced. I heard you had some instruments, some synths that came in that were panned, and I think you could go more with stereo spreading than panning with those sort of instruments. I think that, yeah, it would just help cover more of the stereo field with stereo spreading than just panning. And I think that would give a wider mix. That's true. Depends on how tough the boss is. What else here? So the stereo imaging, so yeah, the synths that come in, I would say, yeah, stereo spread those, experiment with that a bit more. Have you also want to have your sounds that are more monocentric, so it doesn't sound too wide. You don't just want to stereo spread everything. That will it will sound flat. That's what happens if you have stereo imagers on a lot of your instruments and you just try and stereo spread the whole track. It usually will sound kind of flat. You need to have those instruments that will be more monocentric, and you have the kick that is mono, and that will provide that comparison. Thank you so much for the follow there, Gretchen. Sorry, I missed the last part of that screen name there. Thank you so much for the follow, Gretchen. Do appreciate it. I did skip at the very end there, Johnny Hardcore, the last 40 seconds or so of the track. And one more thing, the synth that came in right here. I'm not sure what kind of instruments that is, a horn type instrument. I definitely think that could be EQ'd a bit better. It seemed to poke through in the mix a little bit too much, maybe some multi-band compression with that sort of sound rather than EQing. Yeah, I just felt like it popped through in the mix a little bit too much. And it's really hard to say. Sometimes I'll listen to a track and I'll be like, okay, that's definitely coming through in the mix too much. It's poking through, and I won't necessarily know specifically what frequencies, but I can definitely hear it. And that kind of really just comes from training your ears. I mention this all the time. Ear training is such an important part of music production, and listening to other people's tracks, listening to your tracks, trying to get comparable styles of mixes is really important. So, having reference tracks, I think, is really important. That's not to say that you want to copy, a specific mix all the time, but, copying a mix for certain tracks, for a certain number of tracks, will help you train your ears instead of just saying, oh, I just want to go off and do my own crazy mixing thing. That's great, but, I think it's more important to have trained ears first before you start breaking the rules, I guess you would say here. So that's just a general thought of mine on it from what I've seen. All right, so thank you so much, New Pointless. Do appreciate it. And again, any feedback for New Pointless, go ahead and put that in the chat. We are at 24 viewers. Nice. We are 12 away. We are like 8 minutes in, and we're 12 away from that free giveaway. We have plenty of time, so invite your friends. 12. If half of you invite one friend, then we've hit the free giveaway of the Sony Box Twist. So let's do it, and let's give away this bad boy. All right. Jay Heinrich, finding the line between poking out too much and taking the front of attention span is tough. Yes, it is. That is definitely a fine balance. Mixing really is all about finding that balance. And it's really a lot of seesawing back and forth with EQing, compressors, effects, volume, that sort of thing. Alrighty. Who do we got next? Who do we got next? Connor's watching you. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Do appreciate it. All right, MIDI Mailer, you are up next. You are up next. Let's do it. Nice, MIDI Mailer. Loving it, man. Definitely a lot of improvements on your tracks since I last heard one of yours. I think it's been like 3 or so weeks since I've played one of your tracks. So definitely great improvement. Any feedback for MIDI Mailer, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked and what you think could be improved. And any friends that you have, invite them into this stream because we are 6 away from doing the giveaway of the SoundShock Spectral Morphing Synthesizer Twist. So, love the vibe, love the arrangement. I think 330 for this type of track works really well. I definitely heard a little bit more dynamic of an arrangement in this song. So highlighting certain instruments, it having, just more variation. Because in a lot of your tracks, it lacked variation in your tracks or in the different sections. Just had the same instruments playing, and there's a lot more of a dynamic arrangement in this song. So someone mentioned the hi-hats in this, and I definitely agree that the hi-hats were a little bit too hot in this track. Definitely reduced the volume. They were also just causing an imbalance, too loud, too much high frequencies. Kind of putting a strain on the mix from what I heard. So just reducing them. With hi-hats, it can be easy to really just pump them up too loud in the mix. Always pull them back a decibel or so more than you think you need them in the mix. So, when you're adjusting the levels of your hi-hats, have them set and then take them back another decibel once you have them set, as they usually are mostly the loud. They don't need that much volume to be impactful and to be clear in the mix, and can easily be put up too loud in the mix. What else here? I think that the bass that you had in the mix could have been compressed and distorted a little bit more to provide that real solid foundation for your track. It sounded like the bass line, you could hear it, but it sounded like it was wavering in volume just a little bit, and I think it could just be a little bit more solid in the low end. And I think distortion, adding harmonics, making it thicker, as well as keeping it dynamically stable, would benefit this track a lot. As again, just having that solid foundation is necessary. Compressing and distorting a bass line too much, as far as just taking away a lot of the dynamics, is okay in my opinion for these types of live bass lines, because they need to provide really stability in the track. And a lot of the dynamics come from elsewhere, and just having that be really solid in the low end really makes a big difference. So some distortion, some compression to really tighten it up and have it be more consistent volume-wise, and just have more frequencies. Another thing, I think the guitars that you had in this the song could be a little bit wider in the mix, just to leave a little bit more room. You had a lot of other instruments. You had like keys and like strings in there, and there wasn't necessarily a big conflict with the frequencies that you had. You could hear them fairly well. I just think there could have just been more space though, that could be created in the mix. And I think that just widening them. I know you have some like chorusing sound in the on them, or some effect, some modulation effect, that are providing a bit of width. But I think adding even a little bit more to them would really help with this track. Alrighty. What else we got here? All right, so moving on here. Next up on the list after MIDI Mailer is, and thank you so much for the follow, XXXXXXXXX666. Do appreciate it. We have Andrew East. Andrew East, are you in the stream right now? Let me know, and we can go over your track right now. And again, I go over the tracks in the order that I get them. That way it's fair for everyone. So it's a first come, first serve type of deal here. Okay, sweet. Sweet, Andrew. Let's go over it.
I see my body in a different light. I said I woke up in a different life. Feels like I wonder with my heart on fire. Somebody pass me the water, cause I'm good.
Cause I'm a little bit shining into a light. There's no way I'll be turning this feeling off. Yes, I'm everything that I thought I was not. Tell me, ooh mama, ooh la, ooh la, ooh la. Don't know what this is. What do you do now, do now, do now? Do it all of this, all of these new emotions. I let them out in the open. Ooh mama, ooh la, ooh la, ooh la. Ooh, what do I do now?
Nice, Andrew. Loving the future bass vibe. Killer remix. Can never go wrong with remixing Ellie Goulding. So any feedback for Ellie? Or sorry, any feedback for Ellie Goulding? Message her on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Now, so any feedback for Andrew? Go to put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved. And we are 9 away from the free giveaway. Invite your friends and win a free synth. That simple. Okay. You can call me Daniel. You can call me Mr. Strongen if you want to. I'm not going to object to that. I think that Daniel is fine. There's Slurp DDD. Okay, so you guys mentioned definitely some mixing could be helpful for this track. Some mixing improvements. So, again, love the vibe you had going. I love the vocal chops you had, love the arrangements, all that works really well. So that's good. I always comment on that when I talk about productions because sometimes people will send in tracks that the idea is not exactly flushed out or the elements don't work well together, and that's really the most important thing in the track is having the elements work well together, have the idea be clear and be shown throughout the arrangement. If that's not working, then it doesn't matter how good you are at mixing, the track will not be successful. So that's usually why I start with that commentary. Mr. SoundShock, I'll take that too, Mr. SoundShock. Okay, so mixing. So from what I heard in the track, it was missing some low mid range, the 200, 500 hertz range. You had the sub, you had the mid frequencies, you had the high mid frequencies and the high frequencies. And those were dominating the mix a little bit too much, specifically the high mid frequencies. I think you had too many sounds that had that specific range. So I want to say the high mid around 1,000 kilohertz to around 7,000 kilohertz. I think that's around the high mid range I'm talking about, maybe a little bit lower, maybe 800, 900 to around 7,000. Anyways, around that area is where you had a lot of frequencies. And it was causing an imbalance, and the mix was a little bit muddy, specifically the drop, and it was also lacking a bit of power. A bit of power came from the lack of that low mid range, that 200 to 600 hertz range, as well as the drums not being as impactful as they should be in the mix. So I think the high mid range definitely took away from the drums a little bit. When you have frequencies that are just poking out in the mix, so when they're poking out in the mix, that means they're usually just louder than other frequencies. So you have, your 20 to 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz frequency spectrum, and if you have one frequency section, one frequency range that is sticking out, it's going to be louder than all the other sections. So it's going to appear dominating. So that took away from the drums a little bit, in my opinion. I think overall the track could use some gain staging. I usually like to have the kick the loudest thing in my mix. The kick was definitely not the loudest thing in this mix, and I think that is a good starting point. I usually have my kick around -6 to -8 decibels in the mix, and then I usually have my sub bass at around a -12 decibels. I would maybe go back and mix the gain stage the track again and have the kick at -6 decibels and the sub at -12 and build off of that. And a mid-range bass, I think that would just help fill out that frequency range. A simple saw wave would help here. Saw wave synth, that is. So any subtractive synthesizer, really any synthesizer, or most synthesizers will have a saw wave that you can add as an oscillator. And I would just do that. You can do some high cutting, you can do some filtering on that saw wave to cut out some of the high frequencies. Just so, again, you want this layer to provide that mid-range, and really mid-range is where the power is in music. It's really where it comes from. Of course, you need to have a sub, you need to have that low end to provide that weight and power also, but the mid-range does provide a lot of power in your track. And as far as the high mid frequencies that need to be tamed, multi-band compression, EQing, find out works best for your track. Again, when you're deciding between an EQ and a multi-band compressor, if there's only specific parts of a sound that are muddy, that create that peak, that spike, I would use a multi-band compressor. If the sound is continually causing mud throughout every time it plays, then I would use an EQ, because you want to permanently remove those frequencies. So view it like that. And yeah, I think just fixing those fixing that part of the mix, that aspect of the mix, would help your idea shine through a lot better in this track. Alrighty. So hopefully that feedback helped there. Alrighty, what are we at right now? We're at 26. We're at 26. We dropped one. 10 away from the free giveaway. 10 away from the free giveaway. All right. So let us move on here. Jay Heinrich, you are up next, and then Robert Withers is following. That's what the lineup is looking like right now. Alrighty. And again, so any questions that you have for any of the artists, any of the tracks that we listen to, for any questions for Andrew, any questions for this upcoming track for Jay Heinrich, anything at all you have about their track, go ahead and put that in the chat and ask away. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer how they got a certain synth, how they came up with a certain idea. Again, the goal of this stream is to help you guys out with your productions, and asking questions will be the best way to get tips, get new insights, and help you with your productions. So don't be shy. Jay Heinrich, let's do it.
Hope you're feeling me. Hope you're feeling me. Hope you're feeling me. Hope you're feeling me. Feeling me. I hope you're 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 feeling me.
Loving it, Jay Heinrich. Loving it, man. I think you sent this track in a few weeks ago, from what I remember. It sounds familiar here. And yes, Brax Plays. Definitely send in work in progress tracks. That's what I prefer here. That way you can go back and revise the track from the feedback that you got. So, any feedback for Jay Heinrich? Any questions for Jay Heinrich? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved, or any music production questions. Okay, nice. Yeah, it was an old version and tried to fix it. So I'm just getting right into the feedback. I really only have 2 pieces of feedback that I want to go over for this track. One of them I think is important. Lays out important concepts that I hear a lot of electronic tracks have these days, and that really is the limiting of the track, the over-limiting of the track. I know we've mentioned this many times in your track, in your different tracks that you sent in over the last, I don't know, how, like a year it seems like, Jay Heinrich, you've been sending on in tracks. But the different sections in the arrangement are very similar in volume to the drop. Your verse sections are very similar in volume. There's no real energy change from section to section. Everything is so limited so much that it's just trying to get the max volume out of each section, and that creates a less dynamic mix. So when the drop hits, it's not as impactful. So I would recommend doing a different type of limiting. If you really want to go with this limited, very limited style, what you could do is you could do dynamic limiting. This is another term that I'm making up right now, dynamic limiting. So what I mean by this is having more limiting on certain sections of the arrangement. So for example, in your verse, reduce the amount of limiting that you have on the verse. That's essentially it. And then have the heavier limited part on the drop. That way when the verse plays, it's not as loud as the drop. The drop will have more impact and it'll seem louder. I think that would be the way to go for this if you want that super limited style, is just reduce limiting on the sections that don't need as much limiting or don't need to have the full volume sound, and to create that contrast. I think that is what would be best here. Let's see. So limiting, the audio processing limiting there, slurp, DDD, that is what I'm talking about. Limiting is essentially an extreme form of compression with an unlimited ratio. Nice, thank you for sending out that video, New Pointless. Maybe a -6 gain on the master for verse pre-drop could be an easier fix. Yes, this could work also. Definitely could work, could just reduce the volume of the entire track. -6, I would say definitely don't do it that much. That'll be way too obvious of a drop in volume. If you do -6 decibels, because you're reducing -6 decibels on the entire track. From what I have noticed is around 2.8 decibels, maybe 3 decibels at the max is where you would want to drop the volume of a certain section so it's not noticeable to the listener. If you go past 3 decibels, you go into like the 4, the 5, the 6 decibels, and you bring it back up to 0, then it's a very noticeable change and it sounds weird in the mix. So you don't want to have it be a noticeable change where you're like, oh, that's way louder. You want it to be more of a subtle change where the listener isn't saying, oh, wow, that's so much louder in the mix. You just want to say, oh, it's a bigger drop. That's really what you're going for here. Let's see. 22 viewers. We are losing viewers, guys. we want to give away this spectral morphing synthesizer. Invite your friends and keep them in here. And we will give this away if we hit 14 more viewers. That's 14 more viewers at 36 concurrent viewers. We're giving away the Sony Box spectral morphing synthesizer Twist. And last piece of feedback here is the saw basses that you had, those complexer elements that had the saw wave bass. I would recommend EQing them. They were a bit muddy in the mix. Saw waves, I have a lot of experience with mixing in saw waves in tracks, and they're pretty tough to mix in at times, especially when you have a lot of elements playing, and really it comes down to just notch EQing and multi-band compression. For this, I would think multi-band compression would be best for this. I'm not quite sure what frequencies, but it feels like the saw bass synths are eating away at other instruments in the mix. So check those out and see kind of what you can EQ away. A saw wave synths, saw waves cover the most amount of frequency. They're harmonically rich. They cover the full 20 to 20 frequency spectrum, and something at full frequency definitely conflicts with other instruments in your mix. So don't make Christian cry. You don't want to see Christian cry. It's pretty ugly. So invite more friends. Get him in the stream. All right. This seems to be a common mistake I make. I wonder if headphones are misleading me as far as the muddiness in the synths or the limiting. Jay Heinrich. Yes, and what headphones do you use? All right, Robert Withers, are you in the stream right now? Let me know and we can go over your track next year. Robert Withers, give me a holla. Give me a holla in the stream. Okay, the saws. Yeah, definitely headphones can be misleading. I mean, headphones can be misleading in all aspects, but yeah, I mean, you always want to have monitors if possible to do some referencing as well. You need to take more breaks. I would suggest taking more breaks when you use headphones. Your ears fatigue faster, so it could maybe just not be your headphones. It could just be your ears being fatigued, and you making mixing decisions that aren't the best. It could also be it. Again, who is this? Casa, Robert Withers, let me know if you're in the stream right now. You can go over your track. Let me know. Again, I'll pull up another track here. We have Max. Max, are you in the stream right now? Make Cool Progressive House 4. Is this your track? Are you in the stream? Let me know. Okay, Robert, in the stream. Sweet. Okay, and Max is here also. All right, let's do it. Robert, you're up first.
Your snack pack.
Nice, Robert. Nice, man. Haven't heard a tech house track in a while here. Usually get a decent amount of tech house tracks. Haven't heard one in a while, so thank you for sending it on and do appreciate it. Any feedback for Robert Withers, Casa? Put that in the chat, what you liked and what you think could be improved about this song. Thank you so much for the follow there. I am Distwave. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So really a few mixing tips and arrangement tips is what I have for this track. I love the vocals that you used in this, love the style of the bass line, I love the breaks that you had in the mix. I thought those worked really well in the arrangement. I thought that worked really well to create that suspense that you need in tech house. Specifically with the mixing here, I think the gain staging could have been improved. I think that the drops weren't that impactful in the mix. If you listen here.
Your snack pack.
When the drop comes in there, it feels weak. It doesn't feel impactful, and it doesn't really want to get me up and dancing. And it's not the idea or the sounds that you have in the mix that are causing that. It's just the mixing that you have for them. So I recommend doing some gauge staging, having the kick be the loudest thing in your mix. Have the bass line be louder. You usually have the kick at -6, -8 decibels. Usually have the snare or clap -6, -8 decibels. That is on the peak meter, peaking at -6, -8 decibels, and then have the sub bass at around -12 decibels, and the bass, the group of basses that I have, the bass line that I have, around -12 to -16 decibels in the mix. Usually this creates a better balance and more impact in the mix. So tightening that up would be best here. Also, I think compressing the kick and the bass together would really help to create that solid foundation, because for this type of track, you really need the foundation and you really need that kick and that bass line to interplay with each other very well in a groovy and powerful way. And compressing them together really glues them together and creates that foundation and that groove for this to be a very successful club track. What else? I guess the bass line drop needs to be more impactful and more variation as far as the arrangement goes. More variation. I think that some of the drops that you had here sounded the same pretty much. Yeah, sound pretty much the same. As I just scrolled through them here, they sounded like a run-on of each other. Definitely more variation. I know this tech house genre, you're not going to have crazy sound changes. You're not going to go into some crazy dubstep bass line or anything like that. But you could think of more subtle changes. Think more subtle changes like a very, like a slight pitch bend in the bass line, playing a different note every 2 bars or so, adding a different hi-hat ghost note, adding in a different percussion sound, just some subtle variation to really progress the track forward is what is needed for this song, as it felt like it was too much of a run-on type song. So hopefully that feedback helps. I know that just improving on the mixing and the arrangement a little bit will definitely help lift up this track. So thank you very much for sending it on in there, Robert Withers, Casa. All right, 26. We got back up to 26. We are closer to the free giveaway of the Sony Vox Spectral More Thing Synthesizer Twist. 10 away for this bad boy. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. Invite some friends and keep them in here. Keep them in here. As I say that, 2 just dropped. So obviously we did not keep them in there, in here, guys. We did not keep them in. Disappointing. It's disappointing. I'm very disappointed in you. All of you. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Flakers. That's right. Hashtag Flakers. All right, Max, you are up. Nice, Max. Loving it, man. Thanks for sending on in the cool progressive house tune. Any feedback for Max, go ahead and type away in the chat what you liked and what you think could be improved about the song. Any feedback is welcome here. Or any questions for Max? Any questions about the production? I'm sure I'd be happy to answer them. So go ahead and type away in the chat as well for any questions on the production. So a few of you guys mentioned the kick. I definitely will start there. New Point List and Connor's Watching You mentioned the kick could be a touch louder, especially in the low end. Does not cut through the mix well, says Connor's Watching You. So I definitely agree with this. I think that the track was also missing a bit of low end, and I don't think the kick was providing that. Low end meaning the sub information in the track. I think you could either have the kick or the synths provide the sub. In this instant, I would say I'd probably like to have the kick have the sub information, because the chords that you play in the mix are more broken up. It's not a sustained note. It's not like da na. And if you don't have sustained notes in the track, I think a longer kick would work well for this. So something, just a little bit longer as far as the attack, and also has a little more low-end information, I think would be best for this. I think that would mesh well and add more power and weight to the low end and just overall power to the track. So, I'll definitely look for a different sample here for this type of track. And again, to have that cut through more and also raise the volume of it a hair, just to give it a little more power as well. Oftentimes the simple volume lowering or raising will help fix a lot of mixing issues. So definitely. Oh, you could try layering it with a 909 kick. That might give the body it needs. Could also layer as well. If you like the high-end tick of this sample, could also do some layering. Throw in a 909 sample, as Connor's Watching You mentioned, and do some EQing, some low-cut EQing on the first kick sample that you have. And we can make some room for that 909 sample. What else here? Just layer everything with 808s. That's the answer. That's the answer in today's modern production world. Layer your vocals with 808s. Layer your 808s with 808s. Layer your background ambient noises with 808s. That's just gonna be my feedback from everything from now on. Yeah, just layer with an 808 and you're good. All right. 808s for thickness, absolutely. All right. We're at 27, 9 away from the free giveaway of the Spectral Morphing Synthesizer Twist. Getting closer. As I say, we're getting closer. We just got farther away. At 25 now, 11 away. Let's see, what else? Okay, the synths in the background I think could also be a tiny bit lower in the mix. So I think the lead was at a good volume, but I think the supporting synths were a little bit too loud and were eating up some of the headroom in the mix and just taking away space from other instruments. So I think just bringing those down a hair would work well. Yes, I did. A Fan of Freak, your track is up next. And one more thing, I think that you can add some claps and snares to this track. I think you might already have some in there. They might just be inaudible for this style. I guess maybe not as common to have a kick or snare on the 2 and 4 beats of a bar. Adding them every quarter note is somewhat popular with this. I would try that. Bring up the volume of the claps that if you already have them in the mix. Like I said, I couldn't quite tell. I think you might just have a ride that's playing every quarter note after 8 bars go through on the drop. But experiment with the 2 and the 4 clap or snare as well. See if that works well out for this style. And I think that would help add to the rhythm and progression to the track, which I think is needed. And of course, vocals could really be added to this track. Vocal chops. Any type of vocals, really in any shape or form, will work well in this song. So I definitely think exploring that option would also help take this track to the next level. But definitely a great start for this track. The main idea is there. A lot of the mixing is already there, just a few touch-ups. And You are on your way there, Max. Alrighty, moving on up the list. We got Phantom Freak up next. Phantom Freak, good to see you back. Back in black, Phantom Freak. And real quick, next up after Phantom Freak is So I Thought. So I Thought, are you in the stream right now? Let me know if you are here. Pull up the track. Still, So I Thought, with the track still untitled. Are you in the stream right now? Let me know. We could definitely go over it. Well, hold on, let me see this. The answer to everything. That's the answer. That's the answer in today's modern production world. Layer your vocals with 808s. Layer your 808s with 808s. Layer your background ambient noises with 808s. That's just gonna be my feedback from everything. I like how I'm moving my head while I'm saying that. Layer everything with 808s. I should just post this everywhere. I should just go on a bunch of different, like all the different production forums, just on all the different like production like pages on Facebook and Instagram, and just post this. Help me help this go viral. Your support is needed, guys. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is you, Crow Bartender. So I thought, correct? Crow Bartender, this is your track we have here. Okay, sweet. We will go over it next, Phantom Freak and Eric Mark, Machine. Let's do it. Yes, Fran Freak. Loving it, man. Loving the track. A little bit different than your other songs. Yeah, I got that kind of Detroit house vibe to it. A little more funky, a little more playful type of tune, and the darker kind of bass house songs that you normally make. Bass house, G house songs that you normally make. So any feedback for Fan of Freak or any questions for Fan of Freak, go ahead and put them in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved about the song, and any questions, specific questions about the production type of way. So a few pieces of feedback here, really just mixing the arrangements, and the sound selection is always on point here with your tracks, Fan of Freak. I'll just go right into the 2 pieces of feedback. The kick wasn't, the low end wasn't quite as impactful as I think it should have been. It just felt a little bit weak in the mix. Bringing up the kick in the mix, I think could solve this. You could just try, bring up the volume of it and see how that sounds. But yeah, the low end needs to be more impactful and thicker. Thickened. It needs to be thickened. A thick low end. So compressing your bass and your kick together will also help with that if just raising the volume of the kick doesn't work well. Layering with an 808 could work also. In all seriousness, though, you probably could. As far as adding sub to a kick, you could always really shorten an 808. I know 808s are a little bit always longer. You could always take a very small piece of an 808 and layer that. But I guess there's probably better ways to layer than just using an 808. But I just figured I'd go with the theme that I had going of layering with 808s. But yeah, even just taking a synthesizer and having a sine wave and layering that with your kick could also add sub. And you can really control the envelope of that sub bass in a synthesizer to get it exactly how you want it to. So that's another benefit of using a synthesizer, to add sub bass to your kick drums if they need it. What else here? One more thing. I was trying to think what the other piece of feedback that I had was. So the main synth that you had, like the electric keyboard keys, whatever, down, that sound, I think it was mixed in kind of oddly in the stereo field. I mean, it worked. It didn't conflict with any other instruments. You could hear it. You knew what it was, the story that I was trying to tell. But I guess just to my ears, it just sounded a little odd in the mix, and I kept just thinking about that sound. I'm not sure if it has like too much. I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on in the stereo field. It doesn't feel natural in the stereo field. It's like some weird side information going on or something like that. It was just, I think maybe that was in the sample that you chose. It had that different type of side information. I think it's playing around with the stereo field of that sound with the stereo imager to see if you can kind of if you could change that stereo field a little bit. I think something even better than using a stereo imager would be Voxengo's MSED. With Voxengo MSE, the mid-side encoder, decoder plugin, you can change the gain in the mid part of the stereo field and the gain in the sides of the stereo field, and you can adjust and find that balance. I would use this plugin as a free plugin that you could download, and I think that would work better if you change the stereo field of it to sound just a bit more natural in the mix. You're talking to a machine. Okay, so yeah, that's really the only feedback I had for the track. Really 2 small things there. Oh, I guess one more thing. The some of the synths that you had that were popping in and out of the mix. Yeah, like something like that. I felt they were a little bit too loud compared to the other elements. I think kind of reining them in a little bit more. You definitely want them to pop out in the mix, but definitely not too much where it causes a little bit of an imbalance. So I think maybe just tightening up the volumes of those sounds that come in and out would be best here. Maybe giving some space to them as well, reverb delay, that sort of thing. So just something to think about there. So thank you again, Fan of Freak. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Again, always just small feedback things here and there that you could consider for your song. Another thing to consider, everyone, is that we are now still 11 away from giving away the spectral morphing synthesizer. So something to consider is inviting 1, 2, 3, all of your friends into the stream, and we give this away. That's something to consider. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea to me to give away free stuff. That's just me personally, though, because I like free stuff. If you don't like free stuff, then I recommend you don't invite anyone into the stream. If you do like free stuff, I recommend you do invite someone into the stream. Free stuff, not free stuff. Free stuff, not free stuff. You decide. All right, so I thought you were up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, hey, hey.
Let's go.
Why don't you try to come my way, babe? I got all the time to waste it. Baby, won't you try no more?
Yes, yes, man. Wasn't expecting this type of track. I don't know. I don't really know what I was expecting with this song. But really excellent job. Very groovy, laid back, chill. Definitely in time for some spring vibes with this song. So any feedback for So I Thought? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved about the song. Gotcha, Brax plays. A second email, we'll do that. You are up second, Brax. We got Ben Jenkins next. Ben, are you in the stream? Just give a little roll call here so we can move along after we give feedback. Yeah, Ben, let me know if you're in the stream. We can go over your track. And then Brax, you are up after that. Go ahead and pull up that song as well here. So yeah, Benji with spaghetti legs. Are you in this stream? Let me know. All right. So yeah, I definitely want to talk about the clap in this track. Definitely want to talk about that. So you guys have a few things to say about it as well. A little too sharp in the mix. See Woodman or a softer clap in the background in the verse. Gotcha there. That could definitely help. So overall, I think that, yeah, the clap, I would say, I don't exactly know. It was maybe a little too up front. It didn't feel like it was that way. It didn't feel like it was that imposing, that like hitting me in the face. Didn't seem like it was causing that much of an imbalance. But I will say that the timbre of the clap didn't seem to fit the style of the track. So I definitely think a new sample could be used here. Definitely. Something fit better with the style of the track. As far as what to use, man, I'd maybe say use a more real clap sample, something that sounds a little bit, more realistic, I would say. Maybe try that for starters and see how that sounds. I could be wrong. A real sounding clap could sound like crap. That's just my first guess on what I think would work well. Definitely a new sample. We could still make it, Slurpy D. We're 14 away. 14 away. We can make it, guys. Have faith. So I definitely want to take a quick poll from everyone in the stream right now, all 23 of you. What would be the best time to stream? What would be the best time to stream? Go ahead and type that in the chat. Everyone type a number about when would be the best time to stream. Type a time in. Let me know. That way we can get the most amount of people in the stream. We can do all of these giveaways. I have a ton of free plugins that I want to give away to all you guys. I've got them stored on my computer, ready to give away. But we need viewers in here. Gotcha. Orange Night, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 6 Eastern. Crow Bartender, perfect time. 21 is cool for French. So that is at 9 o'clock. That is, this time. So that's perfect. 7 Eastern. $12 in UK. That will not be possible for me, unfortunately. Brax plays, because I will be asleep. Okay, nice. Connor's watching. Perfect time. 2 or 3 Eastern. Okay, perfect. Buffalo Val. That's this time. Well, it depends where you are, SlurpDD. It's night. It's daytime for me. It's nighttime for Europe right now. It's night and day all around the world right now. Okay, so it seems like for most of you, this time is good. This time is good. Definitely people in the US, Pacific time, this is not the ideal time because it's still working hours and it's still 1:26 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right now. In Europe right now, it is what, 10:26 right now, 22:26 in Europe. So, gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for your input on the times. Do appreciate it. So yeah, we'll go over the rest of the feedback we had here for still untitled track. So we mentioned the clap. Another thing is the stereo imaging in this song. What I noticed is that everything is in the center, right in the center. And while you have a good selection of instruments that sound good and don't have too many conflicting frequencies, it sounds good in mono, at least a lot of monocentric elements, but the track would benefit a lot more if you had more of a stereo image in the song, as if you had more elements that have more side information. That would work really well. I think the only sound that really has some side information is some of the vocal effects, and the Rhodes like piano that you have in there has a little bit of side information, but a lot of the other elements don't. The hi-hats could definitely benefit from that. The elements that I would say keep in mono or keep monocentric are the kick, maybe the clap. I mean, that's kind of experimenting with that. Some claps that you have sound good in mono. It all depends on kind of the other elements in your track, but definitely I'd recommend having that stereo. Could recommend having that stereo spread as well. The hats definitely stereo spread. The Rhodes, spread those out even more throughout the mix as far as the stereo imaging goes. That's what I mean by spreading out. So really just, yeah, experimenting with that would really help. That's really the only feedback I had for this track, really just the clap and the stereo imaging of the song. The arrangement worked really well with the vocals. I would say that, yeah, just fixing, I think the stereo imaging is really one of the bigger problems. It's just, yeah, it could just, you really want to showcase your idea in a three-dimensional way. Mixes need to be three-dimensional. That's what you hear in the professional records. They have a three-dimensional sound, and that's created through depth, through height. And that really comes down to having, and width. Depth, height, and width. Those are the three components of a three-dimensional mix. Height, referring to EQing, and volume, the stereo imaging, of course, the spreading of the stereo elements throughout the stereo field. And the depth, the reverbs, the delays, the modulation effects, that creates that depth. So again, the key to that is having all of those working together in a mix, all of those audible, all of those three characteristics audible in a mix to create a three-dimensional mix. Hold on, we have another new pointless clipped thing that we need to look at. Everything is in the center, right in the center. And everything is in the center, right in the center. That would be awesome, new pointless, if you just kept doing this every stream. You had all the clips that I had, and after like a couple of months or so, you just make a collection of me answering like music production questions or just doing weird things. Like the highlight reel. It'll be the highlight reel for this stream. I kind of did just like poke you in the eye. And we are losing people. As I'm poking people in the eye, we're losing people fast. We're at 19. I won't poke anyone anymore. Sorry. I apologize for poking you guys. Please come back to the stream. I won't poke you anymore. There we go. People are coming back when I said that. We're at 21. All right. Sweet. Sweet. Thank you so much. So I thought, moving on. Ben G, I don't think, is in the stream right now. So we'll go on past his, again, Ben G, Spaghetti Legs. Let me know if you're in the stream. We can go over your song. If not, we're going over Brax's right now. Let's do it. Nice, Brax. Loving it, picking up the energy. Definitely the boost that I needed right now. We got 23 viewers in the stream. We are 13 away from the free giveaway. Now 12 away from the free giveaway. Everyone stay in the stream, invite more friends. We can give it away today. Let's do it. So any feedback for Brax, go ahead and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved about the song. Any feedback or any questions for Brax, go ahead and ask those away. Ask away. Definitely Connor's watching you. We'll definitely start with that. Fixing the kick. The kick feels like it is a low cut in the mix. I'm not sure if you had it low cut in the mix or whatnot, but it sounded just, yeah, like you took a EQ, cut it off at like 300 hertz and put it in the mix. Bring back the low end in that kick. Definitely want that to be impactful. And it only felt like a tick in the mix, and that is the low end is needed for that body and that weight and that power to carry out the rhythm and the power for this track. Another thing, I think the synths in the drop were a little bit too loud. It's really you just had some mixing issues with volume and having certain sounds not be full frequencied or fuller frequencied. And if we go back to the drop, I think that, again, the synths were a little bit too loud comparatively to the other instruments. Just dropping those down a little bit could help. Also, it seems like some of the high emitter frequencies were poking out a bit too much. Use a multi-band compressor to tame some of those as well. The down, 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 kind of that sort of sound. I guess that was that was me mimicking, I guess, the sound. So when it was peak. It felt like it was poking through in the mix. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think a multi-band compressor would help tame some of those peaks when they try and spike up. So it seems more balanced. You could hear all the instruments powerful and not seem like they are going back and forth in the mix, which it sounds like when you have a lot of instruments that have very quick rhythms and have very varying frequency content. Okay, hopefully that made sense. If it didn't make sense, let me know. I can explain it again. But essentially, yes, just using a multi-band compressor on the synths that you had in the drop. What else here? I think this section, I like the break you had before this epic part, but I think it was a little bit too long. It could have been shortened. It kind of just felt like, where's the track going? Like it felt like it just dropped off. And I know that's the feeling that you wanted to have it, but it just felt like it dropped off for too long, I would say. You can create that effect with a shorter pause here. What else? What else? There you go, needs an 808. There you go. Refer back to the previous comment of needing an 808 for anything. And for anyone who just joined the stream, the answer to all your production problems is to layer it with an 808. Think about it. It makes sense. Thank you very much, Brax. Hope to see you in future live streams. Thank you for joining. Benji, you were up with spaghetti legs. Cool name here.
My mama called, see you on TV. Sunset shit done changed. Ever since we was on, I dreamed it all. Ever since I was young, they said I won't be nothing. Now they always say congratulations. Worked so hard, forgot how to vacation. They ain't never had the dedication. People hate and say we changing, look, we made it. Yeah, we made it. That was never friendly, yeah. Now I'm jumping out of Bentley, yeah. And I know it sounds dramatic, yeah. But I knew I had to have it, yeah. For the money, I'm a savage, yeah. I be missing like I had it, yeah. I'm surrounded 20 baby, yeah. But they getting them in action, yeah. Everyone wanna act like they important, but all that mean nothing when I swim my door, yeah. Everyone counting on me, drop the ball, yeah. Everything custom like I'm at the bar. When it put your lighters to the sky, how could it all make sense when I got millions on my mind? Coming with that bullshit, I just put it to the side. All the sense of baby, they could see it in my eyes. My mama called. since we was on, I dreamed it all. Ever since I was young, they said I would be nothing. Now they always say congratulations. Worked so hard, forgot how to vacation. They ain't never had the dedication. People hate and say we changing, look, we made it. Yeah, we made it. I was patient. I was patient. Now I can scream that we made it. Now everywhere I go, they say congratulations. Young nigga graduated. I pick up the rock and I'm bobbing. I'm looking for someone to love it. But right now I got a situation. Never old being for him. Big ring, champagne. My life is like a ball game. Ladies that I'm in the trap though. That's what we call a Super Bowl. Super Bowl, call the hoes. Get in the rolls.
Nice, Ben. Thanks for sending on in the tune. I love the remix. Classical. It's definitely not what I'd call this song, classical. So any feedback for Ben G, go and put that in the chat. What you liked, what you think could be improved. So I'll hop right into the feedback here that we can get to everyone's track. As you guys mentioned, definitely the vocals definitely were drowned out at times in the mix due to the synths that came in. Remember, there's only so much space in a specific part of the frequency spectrum where elements can shine through clearly in the mix. If you have too many elements that are competing for the same space, they are going to overlap and be inaudible. And that is what happened in this particular instance. Since the vocals are the most important thing in your mix, you definitely want to have those shine through first before the synths, or have the vocals be a more dominating element in the mix. So I think EQing and a lowering of the volume of your synths would be best here. And also, I think just raising the volume of the overall vocal could help in general, keeping it more on top of the mix. You want to have the vocal really be on top of all the other elements in your song to have it really shine through, and having it be a little bit louder in the mix and doing EQing of the elements that have similar frequency ranges as the vocals will help the vocal sit on top of the mix. So that's a very quick fix there. What else here? Definitely new pointless. I think some ear candy percussion or some sort of ear candy sounds, effects could work really well in the breakdown. What else here? I'm trying to think. What else?
For the money, I'm a savage. Everything comes from like I'm at the base of my mind. Yes, I was. People hate and say we changing, look, we made it. Yeah, we made it. I was patient. I was patient.
Yeah, overall, the idea is great. Just think mixing. Extending out the track a little bit longer also, 2:33. It's a little bit too short. I think in the 3-minute mark could work really well for this type of song. And yeah, I mean, so if there's any specific feedback that you're looking for, let me know. If not, I just go over what I think could be improved. Yeah. If you don't let me know, then I don't know what feedback to give. 14 away from the free synth giveaway of the Sonobox Twist. We can still make it, guys. We can still make it. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Glad to hear that, Slow Marksman. And thank you very much for sending on in the track. Hope to see you in future live streams. Okay, we have Orange Knight. Orange Knight, you are up. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you for sending on over the track for the second week in a row. Do appreciate it. So any feedback here for Orange Night, go ahead and put that in the chat, what you liked, what you think could be improved about the song. So I think I mentioned this last time also. I think, it was out of key. It was out of key. So, when you pick your key of the song that you're working in, I would usually stay in that particular key. Each key has specific notes that are in that scale. Use those notes and don't go out to any of the other notes. There are, of course, times to go out of key, but I think at this stage in your production journey, I would say that you'd want to stay in key, stay in the scale, stay in the notes that are in the specific key that you're working in. So for example, C major, it just has all the white keys. I would not play any of the other notes outside of that, at least for now. Not to say that you wouldn't want to at some point. Let's see. So doing just that would help improve it a lot, more harmonic, and really give more consistency to the track. Also, I think that you could add more musical ideas. You had the same kind of melody playing throughout the entire track. Give some variation to it. Add different notes. Different rhythm, just some more variation to create more interest. Add like a pad in the background that supports the lead that's playing. Add some more musical interest to the track. I think just focusing on that and getting those to work well together is what you should focus on at this point in your productions. I wouldn't worry too much about the mixing and everything, and so really just having your musical ideas be in key, having them be interesting, and have them be have multiple musical ideas in the same track. So not just having the same lead sound playing over. I think is what you should focus on in the arrangement of those elements. So moving on, with this song, focus on that for this song, and when you work on other songs, focus on that as well. And I think you'll start to improve faster this way, and then you can start getting into more mixing stuff. Just worrying more about the musical ideas and not worrying so much about the mixing and other stuff that comes along with it, because that will just, in my opinion, slow you down at this particular part of your production journey. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps there. And thank you again for sending on in the track for the second straight week. Cheyenne Khan, you are up next. All right, Cheyenne, awesome. Thank you for sending on the track. Do appreciate it. So any feedback for Cheyenne, go ahead and put that in the chat. I see that there are a few mixing tips in there already. The snares, definitely. The snares so far left definitely could be just in the center of the stereo field and also too loud in the mix. They're dominating the mix. They're just poking out too much. So I'll definitely go back and reduce the volume and put them in the center of the mix. Very simple fix there. Also, you also mentioned the bass. Bass needs to be in the track. It is missing a huge part of the frequency spectrum and feels empty without it. A bass line, a simple bass line would work for this track. Really simple. My suggestion here would be to just listen to other songs in the style or genre that you're working in and write down the different elements that you hear in the track. Write them down on a piece of paper, and when you go to make your own track, add in those same elements. That way you know you're going to have a full frequencied song and have sounds that you know will work well together in the mix. That would be my suggestion moving forward here. Just those two mixing tips, and when we work on future songs, have that list and work through that list. So hopefully that feedback helps there. Reference, reference, reference. Yes, that definitely helps a lot. What are we at right now, guys? We are at 21:15. We're slipping a little bit here. We are slipping. 36 concurrent viewers, and we give away the Sonovox Spectrum Morphing Synthesizer Twist. We're slipping, guys. And don't let anyone leave. Don't let anyone leave. Spectry Zen Force. Are you in the stream right now? With your song Ardent. Oh wait, we just went over your track. Wait. Yeah, we just went over your track. He sent it in twice. Okay. Johnny, you are up next. All right. Here's Johnny. Johnny, can you send on over the track again in a streaming file? I cannot seem to stream it here and play it. Johnny Hardcore, send on over the track. Preferably a SoundCloud link would be best here. That way I can stream it on my computer. Let's move on here while Johnny's sending on in the new track. That's Crazy Lullaby. That's Crazy, are you in the stream right now? Let us know so we can go on over it. All right, That's Crazy. That's Crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
right, thank you so much. That's crazy. Cool little lo-fi track here. I haven't heard a lo-fi song in a while, so thank you for sending it on in. So I'll go right into the feedback here. Yeah, I definitely think the volume automation is a little bit too much, a little bit too jittery. And maybe that's the style that you're going for. I think it did ruin a bit of the flow, though. I think you can have a little jitteriness in it. That volume automation dip, side chaining, whatever you have going on there. I think you could have that to get that vibe, but just reduce it and have it be, still have, that movement in it, but not be so stop and start. I think that would be best for this type of track. What else? So I heard that you had offbeat kind of hi-hats. They were kind of lagging behind in the mix. Definitely like that. That sounds cool. Definitely don't need to have everything 100% quantized. That sounds good. I think maybe playing around more with that as well would help. So here you have the hi-hats that are lagging a bit in the mix, causing that kind of lazy beat. I think that in transitions, you could speed it up and have it at the hi-hats be in forward of the beat. Really just play around with the timings of the hi-hats in the arrangement to create more movement. Dynamic arrangement of the hi-hat placement, I think, would help with the song here. Also, just a small little tweak here, nothing major, nothing that necessarily needs to be fixed. It's just an idea that I thought of right now that I thought I'd mention. Sidechain plugins. I would recommend LFO Tool by Xfer Records or the Cable Guys Volume Shaper plugin, something similar that will help give you sidechaining to your track in a very precise way. What else here? What else? Vocals. Vocals definitely need to be added to this track. I heard you had a few vocal one-shot samples in here, but adding even more would really help bring this song to life. Can be something very subtle in the mix. Doesn't have to be something crazy. Just think about adding those to the mix a little bit here. What else? That transition there, I think, could be improved. It kind of just felt like a quick filter was put on it and just quickly rolled off all the frequencies and felt like it went to the next section. I think that just transition could have been smoother. Effects, drum fills, just something to give a little bit smoother transition. That's really the only feedback I had for this track, just a few small things that could enhance the song. Really great job. Thank you for sending on in the lo-fi track, and I hope to see you in future live streams. That's crazy. Okay, Ju1Con or Mad J. Mad J, are you in the stream right now? Let me know and we can go over your song. Let me know. Mad J. Mad J. Okay, he isn't here. Gotcha. We will not go over his track then. Distwave, you are up next then. Wait, Distwave, are you in the stream right now? Should probably ask. Distwave, I knew you were in the stream earlier. Let me know if you're in here. Let me know. Once again, guys, I only go over tracks for people that are in the stream. If you're not in the stream, then I will not go over your track. That way it's fair to everyone who's waited and gotten their tracks in. Let me know, Distwave. Don't think Distwave is in the stream either. No problem. Moving on up. Another That's Crazy song. We can definitely go over your track if we have time at the end here, That's Crazy. We want to make sure we get to everyone's track. Make sure we have a fair chance for everyone to get their song heard. Okay. Sweet. How do you pronounce that? Zeus? Pronounce it Zeus? Zeus? All right, we can definitely go over the song. Let's do it. Nice, Zeus. Loving the lo-fi track, chill, ambient. Working really well. Any feedback for Zeus, go ahead and put that in the chat what you'd like to be thinking improved about the song. Definitely want to hear more of it. Definitely has a lot of potential, this song. Definitely mentioned, you mentioned the Foley. Connor's watching, you mentioned the Foley. Yes, a little too loud in the mix. The vinyl noise that you had going with the Foley, that definitely was too loud in the mix. Just some EQing it up as well. First, I'll try volume reducing it in the mix, just to have it be more of a background element. See if that works, and if it also is a little bit muddy, do some EQing to it. I think it might need some EQing. Is that one Foley sample? It seems like it's pretty full frequencied. Or not, I wouldn't say full frequency. I just think it has some mud in like the mid-range and the low mid-range that could be EQ'd out. That could cause some problems in the mix. Also, I think the kick could be a little bit more impactful in the mix. I know for a lo-fi track and more ambient chiller one, you're not going to have a EDM style kick that's full in your face, but it was just a little bit too soft in the mix. Definitely want to have the rhythm carry on a bit better, and I think it could be a little bit louder in the mix. Like the guitars you used, that worked really well. Fit the vibe of the track. Overall, where you're going with it, I think it's working well. Definitely a fuller percussion set as well. It's hard to get a full feel for how the track is fully going to evolve and what it's going to contain in just 1 minute. But yeah, definitely add a bigger more drums to your drum kit there. So hopefully that feedback helps. And that is actually going to do it for this week's live stream, everyone. I do run 2 hours, around 2 hours every Friday. Again, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is when I host the live stream. Again, that is going to do it. I want to thank you all so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. I hope my feedback has helped. Hopefully all the conversation that we had in the chat, the conversation that I provided and that you guys provided has helped you out in some shape or form, some tip that you could use. Hopefully you got at least one tip that you can use in your productions from this stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, yes, that is really the big takeaway of this stream. Thank you for reminding me, Christian, layer 808s with everything. So really this guitar sound here, layer that bitch with an 808. The kick, layer it with another 808. The Foley, layer it with an 808. That really is the answer. See what we have in here. Banana Nananan, Blue Eyes 47, Chuck Music, Commander Root, Connor's watching you, Crow Bartender, C Woodman, That's Crazy, D Brooks 313, Electric Along Board, Gretchen, Joby Essen, Just TACG, Kaz Destiny, Horst, Max 199608, New Pointless. Orange Knight 12, Robert Withers 13, Slurp DDD, the Mike Nasty, VNK Virgo Pros, Way of SQ, and oh my god, I can't pronounce that. I'm just gonna say the letters. NIIGIYIKAA. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. Again, hopefully this has helped you out in some shape or form. And again, we're hosting the live stream every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT time on the SoundShock Audio Twitch channel, giving feedback and hopefully giving away this Sony Vox spectral morphing synthesizer that we did not today. We came kind of close. I mean, we got 30. I think the high point was 30 at this point. Only 6 away, 36 concurrent viewers. We can do it next time. Let your friends know about this stream. Let them know of the awesome feedback that they can get in on their productions and the awesome synthesizer that they could win next week. I got a big cursor there. You guys can all see that. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, you could win that. Any questions from me? Any questions on SoundShock Audio or any music production questions, you can always email me at daniel@soundshockaaudio.com or any of the SoundShock social media. I'd be happy to talk with you guys, really anything at all. So don't hesitate to reach out. And again, every Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT time, I'll be hosting this live stream. For right now, this seems like a good time for you guys. Maybe in the future, I'll be adding in new live streams at different times to help give the viewers in different time zones a chance to watch the stream as well. But for now, we'll keep it at this time on Friday. And again, we can give this away when we hit 36 concurrent viewers, the Twist Spectral Morphic Synthesizer. So let everyone know about this live stream. And if you got feedback on your track and you missed some of the feedback, or you just want to rewatch some of the stream, have me talk, hear me talk about layering 808s again, and have me just do this all the time. You just want to see that over. I'm going to post all these live streams on YouTube. You can also check back on the Twitch SoundShock Audio account. The videos, I think, for the last 3 weeks will be up there. But again, on YouTube, on the SoundShock Audio YouTube channel, they'll be up there forever. So you can check them out. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for all of you who didn't get your track heard on the stream and you sent in an email, I will give you feedback through the email. I do apologize. I was not able to give you feedback on the stream. I do have to go, unfortunately. Right now, my dog is sitting here, has not gone out, and she's about to take a shit on the carpet if I don't take her outside. So I need to do that. But I thank you all very much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, have a great week, everyone. Have a great weekend. And hope you guys come up with some awesome new songs next week. Take care, everyone.